So I woke up this morning not particularly expecting to change my worldview about anything. But then I saw two videos and it changed. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. I'm Utkarsh coming to you from Singapore. It's not often that you have a new idea or something influences you to change the way you look at things in a dramatic fashion. It doesn't happen that often, but it happened today. And if you're familiar with this channel, you are familiar with my outlook on the future of the music industry, which I wouldn't say it's pessimistic, but I don't really think it's optimistic either. It's realistic. The inevitability of artificial content designed by an algorithm, designed to boost profit for a corporation, the inevitability of that becoming mass produced or mass listening. That's kind of what I'm thinking is the future. And I've talked about that. But then I saw a couple of things today that made me look at the whole thing differently. The first thing was a video by Drumeo with Mike Portnoy hearing Shake It Off by Taylor Swift for the first time. It's not very unusual to see these videos. They've been doing it for a while. But as I was watching the video, because I hadn't seen one of these for a while, it was hilarious. Mike Portnoy is, of course, an absolute legend. But what struck me is, of course, Drumeo now has Guitario and whatever else it might be. There are like 25 different tools for piano, for drums, for guitar, whatever instrument that you want. And then you have a total package that you can learn and that you can access everything. I'm not trying to advertise them here. But what has struck me is that it's never been easier to learn an instrument as it has been in 2025. When I tried to start playing guitar, I don't know, I downloaded some Beatles, at least I could download something. I downloaded some Beatles tab book, I had to do this, I had to do that, I had to figure something out. And somebody learning to play guitar 20 years before me in the 1980s would have had an even tougher time. Today, it's super easy to learn an instrument. But it goes one step further. It is super easy to make music because you don't even need to know how to play an instrument to make music, right? And in the past, if you didn't know how to play an instrument and you wanted to make music, you were restricted to, electronic music essentially. Now you can make any kind of music because guess what? AI can replicate anything for you. So what it means is that now in 2025 and going forwards, for the first time in human history, if you are a human being, you are a musician. This has never been true before. Think about it. It has just not been true. Because to be a musician, you had to at least be able to sing well, or you had to spend years learning an instrument for most of human history. And now, if you are a human being, if you have an idea, if you have a consciousness, you can make music. And you can, of course, spread it very easily because of the internet. This is going to have a tremendous knockoff effect on the state of music. If you think that the kind of different genres, the kind of propagation of music, different kind of variations of music that got created with the mass music age since the 1950s was crazy, that whole thing is going to be multiplied exponentially because suddenly you have many, many more heads on the problem, or put it another way, many, many, many more different people with more different ideas trying to make music. So contrary to what I've been thinking about as, going to be a relatively dystopian, business-led, algorithm-led, artificial music age, I'm thinking that, you know what, if you just change the framing of all these AI things as just tools for people to make music, suddenly they make it possible for almost anyone to make music. And that can only be a good thing. Let's get off our high horses that if the person is not actually playing the instrument or whatever, if the person is not actually singing. Hey, if I have a certain vision that I imagine James Hetfield singing Elvis songs on a Dimmu Borgir like blast beat track, maybe I could not do it myself. Maybe I could. I do like those two singers. Maybe I could replicate them vocally, but it's not about me. Point is, if I had that vision, now I can create it using the tools, regardless of whether I play instruments or not. So I think we are going to see an explosion in creativity just because you have so many more people who can be musicians, and it can only be a good thing. Now we get to the snag, right? The obvious point, right? That no matter how many brilliant musicians are out there whatever is getting created. Ultimately, Spotify's and whatever else of this world will only feed us the most horrible, the most, most typical fast food equivalent crap, that whatever goes popular on TikTok, which has the first 5 seconds to catch your attention or whatever else it might be, right? Doesn't matter if there are a million great musicians out there, you will only hear these four or five, the Taylor Swifts or the BTSs of this world or whatever else it might be. That would be your criticism of my utopian view of the future. To that, and this was my concern as well, to that comes the second video that I saw today. So I was watching Rick Beato interview interview Maynard from Tool. And Maynard said something that I thought was quite insightful. He used the analogy of thinking about your favorite restaurant, whatever it might be. It could be a burger joint, as he said, or it could be whatever, tandoori chicken if you're from India or something. And think of your favorite restaurant. Think of how much food that favorite restaurant of yours makes. And no matter how much food they make, even if they're super popular, the amount of volume of food that they make is pales in comparison to the amount of volume that would be sold in either the supermarket. He used an example of hot food in the supermarket, or even any typical large franchise, take even McDonald's or something. So the point is, just because the food in your favorite restaurant isn't selling in the same volume as McDonald's or hot food at a large supermarket chain, just because it doesn't sell at the same volume, doesn't mean that the food is not better. Your favorite restaurant's food is probably way better than the food selling at McDonald's or whatever else it might be. So volume is not necessarily an indication of quality, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. That's what he was saying. And if you take this analogy to music, it's true. A lot of us, we are all caught up in, anybody who wants to have a music career is caught up in, oh my God, I'm never going to have the ability to become as big as any of the pop stars. The masses just want all of this crap music with the same beat and the same chords or whatever. Popular music is horrible, whatever. I agree with all of that. I would suggest that the aspiration of the musician seeking to create excellence as a musician, their aspiration needs to change from mass popularity to just excellence in music. Give up the ambition that your music will earn you a living. I think that is where things get tangled up. That if I want to be a great musician, obviously my music has to earn me a living. I'm going to be a big rock star, travel in private jets and five-star hotels and that entire daydream. Give that up. Ultimately, fine dining steak is never going to sell as much as the $2 cheeseburger selling millions. Don't try to turn your fine dining steak into a $2 cheeseburger just so that you can sell it in the millions, because that is going to be hollow. There are easier ways to make money than to be a musician. But if you try to create that steak or that perfect, I don't know, whatever else it might be, that perfect, if you're a sushi chef, maybe the perfect cut. If you aspire to make that perfect dish, that perfect song, that perfect album, the perfect bit of music, not worry about whether the masses like it or not, but instead know that you could have a small group of people who appreciate it and know that it is way better than anything that's going on in the mass scale. If you aspire for that and don't give it the pressure of creating a living for you, instead, you leverage all the tools that you have in this age of 2025 that can help you distribute, that can help you make music much faster. If you do it that way, suddenly there is no better time to be a musician. Don't worry that whether you'll get a million streams on Spotify that can pay you $1,000 or whatever. Just worry about making the best product. Worry about maybe finding the right audience, and you would know who the right audience is based on the kind of genre of music that you're making. And do that. And of course, I'm going to follow my own advice. I'm not just here to talk about music. And, it's been kind of my thing as well, because for me, always it's been, I don't want to do something unless I can be confident that I can get to being close to the best at it, or maybe not the best, but, when I did my job as a marketer, I was always top rated. Every year, I was always top rated, top 5% of my cohort. So I did that. I did that for 13, 14 years. And since I've retired from the corporate world, I've hesitated to put music out there because music is so subjective. And I know that the kind of music that I want to make is so different from all the things that dominate the chart. So I'm like, am I going to be an unsuccessful musician? Do I want to be an unsuccessful musician? I would rather not be a musician than be an unsuccessful one. That's kind of how I've been. Maybe I'm a little too competitive that way. It's just my own burden. And that's kind of stopped me from putting my music out there, even though I've had this channel for the last 1.5 years. Because I'm like, I don't want to just put something out there and it only gets 200 views or 1,000 views, or, compared to the millions that someone like Taylor Swift or Sam Smith or whoever else it might be get. And I think I also need to change that paradigm, right? I may be making a particular kind of a dish. That dish may not be everyone's cup of tea, just like my wife will not eat sushi because she's a vegetarian. Does not mean the sushi is bad. I love sushi as an example. So, yeah, I'm just going to put sushi out there. What a terrible analogy. But anyways, I think you know what I mean. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to have a bet that there are some people who love sushi and they will appreciate it and they will agree that it tastes better than the $2 cheeseburger that sells in the millions every day, right? That would be my hope. I'm not going to try and be the $2 cheeseburger. I'll just try and be that fine steak or that sushi or whatever else it might be. All right, folks, let me know what you think. Do you think that this is as revolutionary as I think it is? Would love your thoughts, and I'll see you next time.
When the time has come to an end and luck has ceased to be your friend, what can you do? Where can you go to get away from it all? When the hours just don't seem to pass, it's tempting to just break the glass. But what will that do? Will that free you from the shackles of thought? The shackles of thought will always part far away, far away. The love that you sought, the power it brought, not today, not today. When the love that you thought would last seems to be a thing of the past, look at its ghost, clasp at its cloak, screaming for thought. The shackles of thought always part far away, far away. Love that you thought, the power it brought, not today, not today. The shackles of thought will always fall far away, far away. The love that you saw, power it brought, not today, not today. Not today.